Be
Yes, sir.
Tizzle. Let me see if I can turn this
No,
sideways.
no, no. Keep it like that.
Okay.
Give me just a minute.
All right. So we appreciate everybody who might be tuning in, who's has patience with us getting these technical difficulties right. We normally shoot this together, and we're trying to practice shooting in different locations. We both travel a lot, both have a lot going on. So to ensure that we're able to deliver this content and information on a consistent basis, we're looking to do it on every Tuesday. So sometimes we're not always around each other. This gives us the opportunity to be able to record when we're not around each other.
Hold on. I got an echo. All right. What up? What up? What up, man? We in here.
Yeah, we definitely are in the building.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Uh, let's get to it, man. It's getting late. Got to put the kiddos to bed. We got to have a world class performance, man. Knock it on out.
And you just one of your children just had a birthday, right?
Yeah, man. My oldest turned 7. Yeah, man. 7. It's
Mhm.
geez, it really hits. Uh,
How does it feel being a girl dad?
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Do you feel like there's a little
Hey.
bit more added stress to establish certain mannerisms, as a father?
Oh yeah, man. It's a house full of women, man. You know, me, them, their mother, and them. So it's the it's try to balance things out. The ratio 1 to 3. So you know, shout out to them. I love them. You know what I mean?
I just got to tip my hat off to you. I don't think we give each other enough credit, especially active fathers, man. You being an active father, I've been your colleague for quite some time, and just the level of engagement that you have with your kids, man, is highly commendable, respectable. Um, and I talk to you a lot. Your kids have a lot going on, from sports, athletics, and to playing musical instruments, and you're just very instrumental in that development of them being, whatever they choose to be moving forward in their life. So just to be the coach on the soccer team and the basketball team, that's cool. To be the guy helping with the piano lessons and the guitar lessons, whatever their aspiration is at the moment, man. It's just highly commendable because you're very much involved, and I just have to salute fathers like yourself.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, I don't take it lightly, man. So um, I do want to share one statistic, I guess you could say, that I found out. Um, by the age 12, a child has spent 75% of the time they're going to spend with their parents.
By the
By
age of
12.
12,
Yes. Like, they start having friends and they start spending more time away from home, after school, and school become, thing like that. So, I may have not said that correctly, but I think you get what I'm saying.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure,
Yeah. But yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, you know me, man. I'm a family first type guy, so you know
for sure, for sure.
that I found out. Um, by what you got? What you on the laptop too?
I'm on the laptop too. I'm trying to use the laptop to share to my personal page.
All right, I got you.
All right, but let's go
Uh,
ahead and jump into it, man. I can't. I know we had some topics that we had to discuss that we had written down. I don't have them on my phone because I'm live on that phone, but
I
we
got
can
you.
go.
I got you right here, brother. Uh, what we talking about, man? What we talking about? you know what everybody talking about though. First and foremost, let's go ahead and let's kick it off on a more serious note before we get into the you know, saying this, that, and whatever. The Georgia wildfires, that's one thing, you know what I mean? That is, I was out of town the whole week last week when that was going on.
I was
So,
out of town as well. So
yeah. And to see, you know, I didn't even know, I was totally unaware. So, you know, just to find out while I'm out of town, you know, I saw some stuff on Facebook and uh, stuff like that, and I was just like, wow, that was quick. But you know, you see the wildfires and stuff out west and whatnot. So for it to be happening here, you know, it's really a big problem. This weather, droughts and stuff like that. So
for sure, I was actually in Jacksonville when I got the memo, and I was seeing that. Oh, actually, I was in Jacksonville and Seattle. I went to Seattle this past week. I had to transport a dog. First time in Seattle, pretty cool event. And I started getting these messages about the fires in Georgia and how close they were to our city. And I try not to dig in too far into the research while I was off, you know, but of course, our interests and our questions sometimes draw us back to the subject matter. But I'm looking at this map with all of these fires all over Georgia, in the southeast, not just Georgia, but southeast. And you know, I'm looking at this map that's showing like hundreds of wildfires, and it was just ironic to me that you know all 100 of these wildfires are happening simultaneously in different areas of the southeast. So you know, I'm a guy that questions everything. I start to you know wonder why it didn't start in one place and start in and then spread out into multiple places, and then you know, I'm just noticing across Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, there's just fires simultaneously happening. And I'm trying to rationalize how a wildfire spreads that far. And, you know, then I put on my tinfoil hat and I start asking these questions. And, you know, what I did realize is that a lot of these areas that are being hit by these wildfires are also places where there's a lot of pushback for the development of AI data centers. So they're trying to put a lot of those in our area, and there's a lot of pushback from it. And you know, it's coincidental that a lot of the stuff that we're seeing in terms of the wildfires are happening in these places that there's a lot of pushback with these AI centers. So I get to thinking about what we've seen happen in Hawaii, and other parts that you know outside of LA, these fires, and it seems to me that there is always a level of interest in these areas prior to these wildfires. So I don't want to get to speculating. I don't want to get with the conspiracy theories. All I'm saying is very coincidental, and it is very peculiar, for a lack of better words.
no, I understand, man. You know, I know that they are looking to build some data centers where we live, if
For
I'm not
sure,
mistaken.
they are.
So, you know, man, you never know, man. They're not building any more land. I know that's for sure.
And then I often wonder, like, how is it that there is a water shortage? Like, I'm starting to like wrap my head around it. I'm trying to see, is it a plausible case or issue, or is it something that's fabricated? And the reason why I ask that is that you know we can create water out of heat. We can create water vapor out of heat, condensation. The Earth itself is made up of what 75% of water. When you talk about the oceans and stuff like that, so they often talk about the fact that we need so much water to run these data centers for cooling, and that we don't have enough water, and that pretty soon there's going to be a shortage on the drinkable, usable waters that we can use as people. But it's just hard for me to wrap my head around because we can make water from condensation. There's water in the oceans, so I don't understand how we're running out of water or how there would be a water shortage based on the creation of AI data centers.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Uh, Yeah, that was you actually went right into the next topic, the data
Hmm.
centers. However, what happened at the White House exactly? Did you see that?
I did a little bit of research on it, and from
What
what
did
I know,
the
the
what did the
event didn't
headline
actually.
say? What did the headline say?
So the headline says shooting at White House correspondent event. So the White House correspondent event, it would lead you to believe that it happened at the White House, but it didn't. I believe it was an off-site location in the
Yeah,
nearby
yeah.
proximity where they were doing the event.
Okay.
And man, it's funny. It's interesting. So many questions to ask. Once again, like I just don't. It's hard for me to fathom how there is a White House event with elected officials like the president, the vice president, all these other very prominent people, and there is even an access point for somebody to come in with a firearm. And I'm looking at some videos I've seen of, some news correspondents. They had a hot mic and they're talking about how yeah, they're not even potting anybody down in there over there. Where's the Secret Service at? It's like guys just come in. So, when I seen that, I don't want to say they didn't have enough security or they had holes in the security, but once again, I mean, it's just hard for me to fathom that anybody can get into a close proximity, half a mile to where the president is, to where they can come in with a firearm like that. And then if we want to go into further detail, when they start talking about the guy who was actually arrested from it, um, there's a lot of correlations and connections between him and it was a college institution where one of those scientists who have recently vanished is like 12 or 13 now, but that was another scientist that recently vanished from that school. He went to that school. There's pictures of the supposed shooter in IDF clothes, so that was another thing that I seen, but it's just all kind of weird. What do you think about it?
Uh, Glad everyone's safe. I'm glad there wasn't any casualties or any type of disruptions. You know what I'm saying? We don't need that type of news. Um, Share the live, by the way. But yeah, I don't really have no thoughts on it, man. Just you know, another. It's happened again. You know what I mean? And it's becoming like I don't know if this is gonna be a trend or whatnot. You know what I mean? But it happened again, so it's just like, you know, um, I don't know what to really think about it. I
Well, I'm
haven't done
glad
this.
that I'm at least glad that you said that. I mean, you're an intellectual peer of mine, and we have these intellectual conversations. But I'm just really happy that we've come to a place to where people are questioning things more. Like if it seems weird and it don't look right, people are questioning the validity of certain things. Because for a long time, people just went whatever mass media told them or their favorite news outlet told them. And I think people are starting to wake up to the idea that maybe we're being conditioned, maybe we're being programmed. Maybe there's people that's controlling the narrative of these news outlets and the information that we get. So I'm just glad that more people are just seeing information and things that are happening. And they're like, I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Nah, I feel you, man. It's wild because I think the internet and the 2010s, the 2000 early 2000 eras of YouTube with the Illuminati and all that stuff people used to just watch, and it kind of just made people look at the news a different way, and look at things a different way, and you know over time people started replacing their news source with podcasts and
Independent
segment
outlets.
yeah, independent outlets and stuff like that. So it was like, now we're in a space where that's normal. um you have independent journalism, you know what I'm saying, you have the internet that can actually give you on the ground, access on the ground real time footage while we're getting reports that say one thing that's going to the masses, and you can go on something like X, you know what I'm saying, or Reddit or whatever, and it's like you can actually see someone that lives over there that's posting, you know what I'm saying, that's actually,
Exactly.
or lives or anywhere, you know what I'm saying, that's actually showing you something different than what you're seeing on the news.
For sure. For sure.
So, um, yeah, so you could possibly go on there and see somebody that was actually at the correspondence dinner and see their footage.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wild time we live in now, man.
It is.
Speaking of though, Southern Poverty Law Center says that uh, its informants weren't a secret to the DOJ.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
know you
for
mentioned
those
that
that for
earlier,
those
but
that's not familiar with the headline, can you bring us up to speed?
I was about to ask you to do the same, bro, because you put me on game. I ain't even really caught up yet. Uh, so
Well,
I was
the
just
headline that I came and once again, people, you got to watch out these headlines because they 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 empower a narrative, a left narrative, a
for
right
sure.
narrative. They always impair the narrative. So when I seen it, it was that the Southern Poverty Law Center it was being investigated for funding far right groups and groups like the KKK. And I even seen that supposedly they had funded the rally that took place in Charleston where those protesters had died. So
Yeah, Charlottesville.
Charlottesville. So
Yeah,
it seems to me as if, there are powers that be that are using their resources to agitate certain actions within the community, within our communities, within society. And it's just to stir the pot, right? To create something. So, I mean, what it's saying is that, that particular group had funded informants to bring information. So I think the argument is even if you're funding these individuals that are part of these groups to funnel you information, are you still empowering the group by bringing them finances? And then I even hear people that are talking about the fact that, the Democratic Party in its beginning stages were the proprietary force that created groups like the Ku Klux Klan. So make no mistake, when the Ku Klux Klan first came out, they were definitely a tool and arm for the Democratic Party as who they were at the time. So there are a lot of conversations that the party switched and that however that systematically happens. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. But that the party switched and now the Republicans are the new Democrats of that time, and now the argument is that the Democrats never really changed. The goal of the people who created that political party back then was to support the ideals of the old South and what the South represented, and at that time, of course, agriculture, slavery, um, is something that they represented. And now this is coming out to say that everything has been a facade. It's just an illusion to think that these parties switched or whatever. They're still funneling money, or offshoots of this party still funneling money into these other groups. So it's an interesting topic. I don't know if it's a distraction because once again you got to ask questions right now. Like these things are coming out to distract us from things that are evident. Whether it's declassified UFO information. So now you got all of these information coming out about aliens being real as if we didn't know that already. And it's to create this hysteria, this conversation. And I always just ask myself, what is it deflecting from? What is it to take our attention off of? So
well, Nah, I understand, and that's the thing about distractions. You don't know they're a distraction till they done distract you.
Distracted you, right?
Yeah.
And
Uh,
nobody has still been indicted for these files yet. We got a war, we got UFOs, we got two
nah, for real.
White House shootings, but what is it distracting us from?
Hey, man. Only time will tell, man. Chill Will on the check in, man. Shout
Big
out
shout out to
Chill
Chill
Will.
Will, man.
Hey,
That's your grinder's favorite grinder, by the way.
favorite grinder's favorite grinder.
Chill, we're doing
Hey,
a lot of big things in the city too, man. Just tip my hat off to him, man. A guy that I've had a long lasting relationship with. He's been in the music industry for a long time. Helped me get my first major feature placement back when We Do This Entertainment was a big thing and Young
we
Squad
do
was popping.
this.
And Roscoe, people don't believe that Roscoe Dash was in Valdosta like that, like staying the night, kicking it in the studio. They wouldn't believe
Right,
these things, but if you know, you know. Like if you was around the circle in that time period, if you knew what KE was doing, where he came from, Boom Man had the
right.
shoe store in the studio, But that was just an interesting time to be alive. So big shout out to Chill Will for
Chill Will.
allowing
Yes,
me to
sir.
have a record with Roscoe Dash and everything he's doing in the community as well right now, man. So he is slowly but surely becoming Valdosta City's DJ, man. Anytime Valdosta is doing an event, you see Chillwell on the check-in, man. So big shout out to everything that Chillwell got going on.
Nah, for real. Listen. So we on the music tip, you know what I'm saying? Well, that's a good segue to go into the music right now. We got two um, interesting, very opposite situations going on. Fujiano one, and the other is our NBA superstar Klay Thompson and the rapper.
His, his
Hey,
romantic acquaintance.
there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So listen, I think the Fujiano situation is kind of interesting, being that all the boom man, you know what I'm saying, stuff had recently happened, and that all these people making content behind it,
And then
uh,
Gucci Man too.
what you thought? Oh, his situation. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right. But yeah, just everything because I don't even know if what his record deal situation is and what position that's gonna put him in because honestly, his opinion is probably gonna project him back out there. You know what I'm saying? The way
Right.
he comes, you know what I mean? Because it's like the timing of this happening is a great opportunity for him to kind of just like, you know what I'm saying, catapult up to the you know what I'm saying, back in the mix. Because really, the music, he had a good, he had a nice sound.
hmm
You know,
Do you know why that? You know why Fujiano went to jail supposedly?
because he was on the run.
So he was on probation, and this is how this whole story gets interesting. So he's on probation. He violates or parole. He violates his probation or parole because he went to Scar's funeral.
Okay,
So my boy taking calls during the podcast. So yeah, so Fujiano, with his support for Shiesty and the whole camp, ended up violating the terms and conditions of his parole or probation by going to Scar's funeral. And this is what caused him to violate and to do this time. So I don't know what he's thinking about during this bid, how he feels about his deal or coming out, but I can just put myself in his shoes and imagine the thought process he might be going through because of course he sees all this Gucci Man stuff. He sees all this Pooh Shiesty stuff. He probably seeing this Boom Man stuff too. And then he gets out and I'm signed to 1017 too, but I went to jail because of my loyalty to Pooh Shiesty. And now I get out and Pooh is going through this thing with Gucci Man. Gucci Man is going through this thing. And it's like I gotta pick a side. Do I worry about my uh, record deal and my contract, or do I stay real to what I feel like I'm supposed to as a street guy?
Right. I don't know, man. It's interesting because there's a lot of ways he could play it. You know what I mean? Um, Definitely got to tap into his IG, see what type of content he making because he probably gonna do a first day out and you know what I mean, speak on some stuff.
For sure.
So that should be interesting, man. Shout out to Pooh Shiesty. I really like you know, it's the mayor. It's the mayor.
It's the mayor.
No, let's go ahead and get the doggone elephant out the room, man. Because I really don't really want to talk about it. Because I really don't have a. I saw one meme. I've been trying to avoid it, but one meme that was pretty much saying, he's. I don't know, bro. I ain't been watching none of it. I know it's a big topic, but I just saw that one meme was saying all of his you know
All of
the
his accolades.
yeah, all of his accolades, championship, dream, Olympic team, awards and this, that, whatever. And
Mhm.
I guess she supposedly said something about him not being
She didn't
nobody.
say that. She didn't say that. So that's one of her supporters that was on a podcast that was basically saying that we didn't know Stephon Diggs before Cardi B. Nobody knew who Stephon Diggs is. Of course, this is women who don't watch professional sports.
Right.
And then they're saying that, we didn't even know who Klay Thompson was before Meg Thee Stallion. And once again, it just depends on what your focus is. If your focus is on music, the culture, whatever, and you're not really into sports, of course you're not going to notice this guy who got all these rings and is probably going to go to the Hall of Fame as well. But
Yeah.
people who watch basketball, they probably have a different sediment. They know more about Clay than they know about Meg. So, um,
That's
I,
true. That's very true. That's very true. Hey, man. Shout out both of them, man. I hope they get through it because I mean, I really don't. I saw something saying that it could have been a fake relationship, which I could very well see that.
I could have seen it being a fake relationship too, because and what I've seen from that is that they're using him as an opportunity to try to clean up her image, But it's really important to understand that we are a result of the decisions that we make, and we have to live with the consequences of the decisions that we choose in those times, and we have to lay in the bed that we made. So, we wouldn't have to clean up the image of this person if she didn't, perpetuate this image for her whole career. There would be no need to clean this up. But I think these people, not just women though, just I'm going to speak on men too. I think that these people allow these corporations, these record companies, to prey on your weakness and exploit you for profits in what they think can sell, and they use these athletes and these entertainers as a tool. And in the beginning it seems cool because you're getting this money, and and they're paying you this check. So as a rapper, I mean, it might seem cool because I rap about all these destructive and negative things, but they're cutting the check. They're paying me millions of dollars to do this, and they're telling me to keep it going, just like I'm doing. And I'm sure they in Beg's ear the same way, or Cardi's, or whoever, because it sells records, and it helps to, put people in fill up these prisons, and it helps to degrade society. So, if I pay you this money and I tell you just keep this image up, and in the moment you probably think it's a good idea, but later on down the line, you're going to realize that that probably wasn't even the best decision. Um, just like these girls that do OF, you know what I'm saying? They do OnlyFans, and in the moment, it seems cool, right? It seems fun. I'm making money, but they don't think about the fact that their kids are going to grow up and they're going to see this content, or, you know, you might can explain this to your kids and say this is where I was at in my life, but I changed it. But you're not going to be able to prevent them kids who go to school with your children who are on the internet to see this stuff. You're not going to be able to prevent your kids from getting bullied by these kids who see this stuff. You know what I mean? These are things that you're not going to be able to do. So, not to sidetrack too much, just going back to what we were talking about in the original topic. What we know about this woman is that she got into the music industry. She was formerly a dancer, so she worked in the adult entertainment industry, which has its own stigma depending on where you fall out in that spectrum. And then you
Yeah,
become this entertainer, and they tell you to keep glorifying those things that you do. It's cool that you was a dancer. It's cool that let's keep glorifying that. Let's keep making content like that. Let's keep making music like that because it sells records. And in the moment, she's probably like, yeah, let's do it. This sounds good, but she's not thinking about the long term effects of what these decisions might cause.
yeah.
Um, and you was talking about the meme that you seen with all the Clay's accolades. The meme that I can't stop seeing is this cartoon meme with her on this couch, and there's an entire list of celebrities and entertainers that are standing in a line like they're waiting on their turn with her, and it's showing everybody. And these aren't just like no name people. These aren't just your average blue collar workers. These people are prominent entertainers. They're prominent athletes, and there's so much I want to say about this, but I don't want to get drugs. I've been trying to tiptoe around it, in my posts and not get too in depth with it. But we have to take accountability and understand that we are the consequences from our actions are consequences that we've brought on ourselves. So,
Allegedly.
what do you mean?
I mean, I know you're not saying that direct, but just um, you know, being that you're making a public opinion about it. We just want to throw that out that these are all that meme with the line of guys. That's a assumption. You know what I mean? I mean, how do you know? How do you know it? How much truth do you know there is to that?
I mean, nobody actually knows the truth, you
Right.
know.
So let's move right along, man. So bringing
I
it on home, man. Did you see the Michael Jackson movie?
have not seen it yet.
Me either.
I have a
I
strong
actually
desire
might.
to
I
go
might.
see
I
it.
might go see it tonight. I might go see it tonight, man. And when I say go see it, I mean go see it. Go
Mhm.
stand in line at the AMC and purchase some popcorn and things like that.
Yeah, I plan to see it sometime in the near future. Let's pull up the records though. I think they had a box office record of what they've actually done so far.
I think. Well, yeah, I ain't seen anything like that, but I heard it was. I heard it was like a biopic. Like a TV made for TV style.
um, it is so the 2026 Michael Jackson biopic had a record-shattering opening, earning approximately 97 million domestically and 217 million globally in its first week.
Tap in
That,
if you saw the video. I mean, saw the movie. Go ahead, bro.
yeah,
My bad.
tap in and let us know what you thought about it. But that's crazy. 217 million globally. That means twice as many people seen it in other areas of the world than they did in America, which is wild. But
That's believable. That's believable though. Mike was a world icon, man. Worldwide icon.
definitely, Michael Jackson is probably one of my all-time. If I had to pick an all-time favorite musician or entertainer, I would definitely pick Michael Jackson. Just what he's had the ability to do. He's had billions of dollars in sales since his death. When I was a kid, I had a poster of Michael Jackson in the Beat It scene. We had a record at that time, and I just grew up as a kid. I always loved Michael Jackson, the Thriller movies. The movie where he turned into the Bunny Rabbit, and
Yeah.
Moonwalker. all these things that it was just a intricate part of my childhood. So
No, for sure,
always
man.
a fan of Michael Jackson. I was interested to see how this movie was going to do because the first movie was kind of like, uh, when
Was it
what
in
was it?
theater? It wasn't in theaters though.
Nah, the one that Flex played. Remember
Yeah,
Flex? Yeah,
yeah.
that was kind of like, yeah.
That was
So
funny. Nah, man. Yeah, Mike is that guy, man. For real, man. Like he's beyond that guy. I once read that the most three recognized words in the world were no, Coca Cola, and Michael Jackson.
what?
This is a long time ago, but yeah, I read that. I read that
That's crazy, super crazy. But
once.
big shout out to Michael Jackson. I wonder who is benefiting from all of these proceeds, 217 million globally. Like who is over his estate? That's just crazy amounts of money. I heard his son. I seen his son say that he didn't feel like it was an accurate depiction of his father. Saying something online.
Yeah, man. I definitely have my review next week. Same time, same bat channel, man. Y'all tap in, man. Mancave Memoirs, man. We just going live for y'all though. Just talk on what's going on in the
Hmm.
news.
And make sure y'all follow the Man Cave Memoirs page. Of course, we have our own independent pages that we share a lot of content from, but we are trying to build up this Man Cave Memoirs page, which is why we're going live from this page. So if you're watching this, make sure that you click the link, hit the Man Cave Memoirs, give us a like, give us a share.
Absolutely. Everybody in here, y'all go ahead and hit the like, the heart, something. Hit the share, put it on your page. What else can they do?
What else we got on the agenda?
That's a wrap, brother. I'm about to go take care of some things. You know what I'm saying? But look, that's a wrap for this evening, man.
I feel like we had like one or two.
Let me see. Hold on. I think that was it for sure, though. For sure. Yeah, we went. Oh. I'd be remiss not to mention this. Your microphone is on. You're on mute.
All right, I'm back in there.
New KJ lawsuit.
New KJ lawsuit. Let me pull that up. Uh, okay. So, on April 2026, parents of Kendra Johnson have filed a 10 billion with a B dollar lawsuit against federal officials alleging a conspiracy to cover up their son's 2013 death. This filed on March 30th, and the suit alleges that federal judges and the Northern District of Georgia issued fraudulent orders to dismiss previous cases, continuing a long-running legal battle. Um, Wow. And I see it all over different tabloids, it's all over different news outlets. Um, what are your opinions on that as somebody who actually attended Lowndes County High School? You're a person from Valdosta, so you're familiar with the story, the plight of the family. Um, how do you feel about that?
Oh, I haven't. I'm just now reading up on this right now. I was reading the same thing you were reading.
So, for those of you who do not know who are watching this, we're from Valdosta, Georgia. Valdosta, Georgia has two high schools: Valdosta High School, Lowndes County High School. And back in 2013, Kendrick Johnson was found deceased, rolled up in a wrestling mat. And the story that was given by authorities was that he tried to retrieve a shoe in a rolled up wrestling mat and he slid down in the mat and suffocated. And a lot of people question that narrative and that story. There's been a lot of independent autopsies. There's been films and research and documentation done by outside parties. And it has just been a story that has, you know, had a hold over our particular area of South Georgia. It created a lot of national publicity. And my personal opinion, I'm going to be very careful in the words that I choose in this. Um, what I will say is that the circumstances surrounding his death is highly questionable. It's not rational or logical when you think about just the totality of the situation. That a kid would climb to the top of a rolled up mat and then slip down in the middle trying to retrieve the shoe instead of just pushing the mat over and unrolling it. So what I will say is that it's very highly questionable. Um, the story that was given to the masses doesn't really make sense to me. It's kind of peculiar that during this investigation that they demolished the crime scene and rebuilt a new gymnasium. It's kind of peculiar to me that when, and we learned this when the documentary came out, it's kind of peculiar to me that there are edits. I think that was one of the biggest things for me is that there's edits in the videos from the surveillance. So if you watch the videos, especially in the documentary that they had, I believe, on Netflix, and they go into this particular point, you know, the video from the surveillance footage, it bounces around. So we're both in audio and video engineering. When you see that clip jump and you see a person that's walking and then he ends up over here, you notice that something's been clipped out of the film. So all of this is very, very peculiar to me. And I just feel like if you didn't want foul play to be a narrative, if the story that was put out there in the beginning was actually true, why is there inconsistencies with the story? Why is there inconsistencies with the film? Why would you knock down a gym that is an active crime scene during an investigation to rebuild another gym? All of these things just seem very peculiar to me. Um, but I hope that the family gets closure and gets justice. I hope that if there was foul play or wrongdoing, that it comes to the light and that the people get the truth. I think that we deserve the truth. And I think that the worst feeling that a parent can have is to send their children to school and they don't come back home. So school is supposed to be a place where our kids are supposed to be safe. So, my thoughts and prayers just they go out with the family. I hope they get justice. I hope they get closure, and I hope they get the answers that they're looking for. But
Yeah, justice for KJ. Justice for KJ for sure.
mhm.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your stance on that. Um, I didn't know there was a new lawsuit as of this month.
Yeah,
Just
so yeah, so the lawsuit is it's alleging a conspiracy and a cover up at the highest level. So I think prior to it, it was like it was a local cover up, and now it's not just local. It's there was cooperation on state levels, potentially on federal levels. So that is what the case is bringing up on forward now. So once again, I hope that Miss Jackie and the family gets closure. I hope that we get answers and we find out what really happened. But I will say that the textbook story doesn't really fly with me, and it doesn't make logical sense. And you know, I just can't go for that as being truthful and accepting that as what actually happened because So many variables there. But moving on, man, I surely do appreciate you jumping on this live so that we can stream. It's important for us to get this content out. Trying to get it done on a weekly basis. Me and Brandon, we're extremely busy guys. We both have a lot of motion in a lot of different areas. So making sure that we can pinpoint times to actually have the conversation and to get the information out there is important. So we're utilizing different things. Like right now, we're both going live from two different areas. So I appreciate everybody who thugged it out with us during our technical difficulties, and we look forward to having y'all on future episodes.
Yes, sir. Coming live to you from the Yucatan Peninsula, Mancave Memoirs.
All right. Until next time, I'm Tony Tunnel,
Now,
Urban
hey man,
Man.
hold on. Hey, appreciate y'all for tapping in. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe to live. Uh, Subscribe to the YouTube. Make sure we'll make sure that the YouTube is in the link to the description of this live. It's gonna be on Tony's page, so y'all tap in, man.
For sure, for sure. Until next time, y'all be great on purpose, and we will see y'all next week.